If you're having problems trying to grow basil, there is another way that you can get yourself a steady, constant supply of basil by using a supermarket bought pot of basil. And I'll show you what you need to do to get this to grow into more plants. As always with anything that's been in a pot for a long time, it will start to get a bit root bound, and that's a problem for the plant. If you take it out of the pot, you can see that the roots really could do with a little bit more room. And that's why a lot of time when you buy basil from a supermarket, it doesn't last too long. But one thing that you can do is you can propagate it and make yourself new plants. And what you need to be doing is selecting an healthy looking stem and just make sure it's not trying to flower on top, because they'll be no good. So you just take a stem, cut it off, to leave you that. Now, when you cut them, sometimes there might be 4 or 5 sets of leaves on this stem. You need to take them all off. Any at the bottom that are growing, you need to take those off as well. You just want to be left with a couple of sets of leaves on top. And then you're going to cut it, preferably at an angle. Make a really nice clean cut on the bottom. And then just pop it in a jar of ordinary tap water, like that. In a couple of weeks' time, roots will start growing from the bottom of this stem. You can dip them in raw honey as well, produce even more roots, but the basic ordinary tap water method does work. You just need to do that, leave it somewhere on a windowsill so it is getting some light, and then wait about 2 weeks and you will see roots growing from this. So as you know, when you do buy shop bought basil, supermarket basil, you're not buying one plant, you're buying a pot of plants. There could be 20 or 30 plants in there that you can take cuttings from. So if you do this, you could end up with an endless supply of basil from just one plant. So I'm going to take another one off here. So again, we've just cut another one off. And as you see, there's little leaves trying to grow there. There's new growth trying to come through. But what you want to do, as before, is cut away these big leaves there. And then any new growth that's coming, take that off as well. Because you want this plant to concentrate on putting out new roots. So just carefully snip the new growth away. So you're left with this. 2 sets of leaves on the top is all you need. And then you can again cut it at an angle. Nice clean cut. And then just drop it in some normal everyday tap water. And that's how you grow your own basil from store-bought basil. It is well worth doing. I've done it before in the past and it's worked. As soon as you see these roots coming through and they get to a decent length, you can then pot this on into its own pot and it will start to put out new branches and become an independent plant all of its own. I'm going to take a couple more off of this and leave us with a smaller plant than we had to start with. I will do a follow-up video on these to show you how they've rooted themselves. As I said, you can dip them in honey and that will increase the root growth, but if you haven't got any raw honey, then just do this, because this will work. So we're going to take another big stem once again. We're going to do the exact same thing. Cut away the big leaves and the new growth. Then we'll take the bottom away, and that's again what we're left with. 2 sets of true leaves. Now for the plant that's left, bearing in mind you've bought one plant for probably 50p from your supermarket, and you've just propagated 4 new plants, but you've still got this. Now because they're in these pots for so long, like I said, they get root bound and they need room for the roots to spread. If the roots don't spread, they won't grow any new foliage. So now you've taken your cuttings that you want, you can now pot this on into a bigger pot. And you can gauge how deep you need to plant it by using the original pot and then removing soil until it's sinking as deep as you need it to be. Which is about there. So now we can just take this out, save the pot, they always come in handy, and then we can just pop this in and fill in around. Making sure it's got a nice firm base. If you've got any type of fertiliser or feed to put in this, you can do that, or you can add some slow release fertiliser, sprinkle it around the top. So for me, now I've just repotted this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a sprinkle of slow release fertiliser. And I'm just going to go around with these little pellets, so they'll settle wherever they need to settle, and give it a good amount. So we have those pellets on top, so that's going to provide this plant with some nutrition, because all the time it's been in that pot, it's had the same compost. It will have been given no fertiliser of any kind, so anything that was originally in that pot feeding this plant will have long passed. So now it needs another boost. And now we're just going to water it into its new home. So we have our newly potted basil plant, or basil if you're in the States. We have 2 in there that are going to become 2 more new plants once they start growing the roots. And we have another 2 in there. So out of one 50p store-bought basil, we're going to be getting 5 plants. And as they grow, you can take cuttings again and keep doing that. Anyway, if you do try this out, then please drop me a comment below and let me know how you got on. Thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate all the views that I get, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.